I recently did a storytime video about my agonizing, torturous, nightmarish experience with QuickBooks. So I figured I'd do a follow-up to that, talking about what are the actual pros and cons to it so that you have a better idea of if this will actually work for you. And to be fair, even though I hated the process to set it up and I'm still kind of in a learning curve of it, it's not all terrible. So I am exclusively talking about QuickBooks Online here. I have no experience with the QuickBooks desktop version. Let's talk about some of the pros first. Everything imports through your bank online. So even if you're not in the QuickBooks software at the moment, it's still kind of in the background updating unless you have two-factor authentication on, in which case you just have to go in, click the update button, put in your extra code so that it'll send the data to QuickBooks, and then it updates in real time. Because this is an online software, and of course it has an app, it can be accessed anywhere, anytime. As long as you have connection to Wi-Fi or data, you are able to access in real time all of your data that you need. I've used the QuickBooks app a little bit. I'm not too familiar with it, but it's pretty obvious how it works. It's pretty simple to understand, especially if you're used to using it on a computer. The app especially comes in handy if you are trying to track your mileage through QuickBooks. So I really like this feature because you basically just keep your location on at all times through the app, and then it's tracking all of the trips that you take in your car. And of course you have to go in and manually sort them. Was this personal? Was this business? But it's nice because it's specific. It gets the miles that you did, it keeps up with the odometer, and it just kind of simplifies it, whereas before I was keeping track of my mileage in a spreadsheet and I was doing it manually. The software is simple to share with your accountant and or your business financial coach. In my case, I share with both. This way, everybody who needs to stay up to date on the information, or maybe we're on a call talking about things in real time, we are all able to access things in our own ways. And of course, accountants get the accountant view, so they get a few other perks that we don't necessarily get. I will say, as much as I've kind of fought QuickBooks tooth and nail, it does simplify the whole process. Simplifies your books, your profit and loss, your balance sheet. And of course, this makes it so much easier for your accountant and you during tax season because things are getting sorted all year long. You don't have to go and then scramble at the end of tax season when, the deadline is coming up to get everything in. My advice is keep up with it weekly and at the bare minimum monthly. Just make sure you're kind of balancing everything and making sure that all of your transactions are in and you're good to go. Now, I personally keep my business checking, my 2 business savings accounts, and then my business account where I pay my team on there, as well as my business credit card. So I have 5 different accounts that are getting sorted through QuickBooks on the regular. This is especially important because they all kind of talk to each other. There are a lot of times I make transfers from that main checking to the savings accounts or the other account where I pay my team and things like that. As much as it's nice that everything imports through your bank online, I will say sometimes that's not the case. There are times, and although they aren't many, that things will either not import at all, import incorrectly, or import more than once. You can imagine this creates a little bit of a headache on my end because if things aren't importing, I need to figure out why and hopefully get them to import. If things are importing twice, I need to see that, be aware of it, and now delete one of them, which deleting, by the way, is not as easy as you think it would be. It's excluding is what they call it, and I don't love it. I think I should have the option to fully delete something if it doesn't need to be there. Or sometimes things import incorrectly. So this is kind of more of the issue that I had that I was talking about in that video where I talked about my experience setting it up was I tried to import a CSV file of my bank account and all of the withdrawals or transfers were being categorized as deposits, which made it impossible for me to change them. I mean, no matter what I tried, I couldn't make them not look like a deposit because in their system, that's what they thought it was, even though it was completely incorrect. So obviously that's not so much fun. And that's where I can definitely see the pros to still manually importing. Another con, I'm honestly just going to reference that video. After you're finished watching this one, I really encourage you to go watch my story time on that. It's basically just don't ever, no matter what, set up your QuickBooks account mid-calendar year. I explain a lot more in that video, so go check it out. But just trust me on this, wait until January 1st. Like if you start your business in September or something, just wait. You don't need it those first few months. You'll be fine. Wait until January 1st to set it up. Trust me. Their customer service is pretty terrible. Transparently, especially online. In the multiple times I have had to work with QuickBooks customer service to try and fix things, to try and figure things out, I've been disconnected on multiple times in the middle of the conversation. I have had people who just do not, no matter how clearly I communicate what's going on, they're not understanding what the actual problem is. Or they take like 10 minutes in between every single response, even if it's just okay or something simple like that. I finally had one helpful, kind person on the phone as my most recent experience, which was really nice and refreshing. But I will say the vast majority of my experiences have been poor. As somebody who essentially works in customer service, because I have a very service-based business and it is general population facing, I know how important it is to clearly communicate things, be firm with boundaries, but also be really kind and listen and understand and things like that. It's a balance. And so when that's just not happening on the other end, especially when it is a business to business kind of deal, it's a big turnoff. And ending chats prematurely, especially when you're spending hours on a problem, not a good look. So after all that, are you going to sign up for QuickBooks? Let me know in the comments down below. Or maybe you already are, or maybe you found an even better program. Please let me know if that is the case. I am all ears. And don't forget to check out this video all about my QuickBooks setup nightmare experience. I'm telling you, it's a doozy.